So for me, it goes all the way back to when I was a child. I was born fine, and then at the age of 2, I was diagnosed with renal failure. No one knows what happened, why it happened, and from age of 2 to 8 years old, it was quite the challenge for my parents, back and forth from hospitals. I was even told by the doctors that I was end stage when they first diagnosed me, and there's nothing we can do, just make sure she's home and she's comfortable. I spent most of my life in the hospital growing up as a child, and so many miracles happened. One of the things my mom used to always say is, you pray because he'll hear. And to have that direct response from him as a child was special. I would be so tired laying in my bed, and I would say, Father, I'm tired. And I would honestly feel this pick up and sway, and those would be the best nights that I slept. And I think as a child, I never really put 2 and 2 together. It was natural. It was as if my father is picking me up and rocking me and comforting me, and it was normal. I had a transplant when I was almost 8 years old. So it's been 33 years now since my kidney transplant. Nothing shakes me because of what I've experienced. And so I always had a closeness to God. There's a lot that I experienced in my childhood. Prayers being answered the very next day, questions that I had, and I'd get visions in my dreams. I'd have conversations almost with God as it was normal.
Yeah, unlike Sophia, where I think, experiencing such a supernatural phenomenon and grace of God, I think my journey's been more of a slow, journey that a lot of people I think typically have, but still remarkable to me nonetheless, just the caring and the love of God. I didn't really go to church as a family. Our parents didn't really take us as kids, so we didn't really grow up in the church atmosphere. But so it really wasn't until later, till actually I met Sophia, where she kind of introduced me to the church atmosphere. And growing up as a technical background, an engineering degree, kind of had that balance, that wrestle between kind of a feeling to knowing there was more, a feeling like there was more, and feeling of trust in God being real and there, but also struggling with the technical side of things and the science piece of it. So it really was when I got a chance to meet Sophia, and that knowing she was an engineer as well, and then hearing her story and her testimony, and hearing how she was affected in her faith in that, and just from somebody that I trust in that regard, somebody that I value their opinion so well, and to hear that from her really kind of opened things up for me a little bit. And then that presence of God in my life, you could see the difference as I haven't gone through the biggest things like Sophia has, the very tremendous things in her life, but just that difference between before coming to faith and now, of just that overall sense of peace and comfort that you get by having Jesus in your life. It's made such a difference, just especially going through this pandemic, through everything people have been through, just to have that overall sense of peace, to know that God is in control and He's always working for our good has been great.
Whether you go through some tremendous, miraculous story, or if you don't have that tremendous, miraculous story, there is still a miracle that takes place. I think just the everyday breath in our lungs, we don't know what's going to happen in the next moment, in the next day. And so considering that we're granted the next day, we're granted that next moment. And I think that is a miraculous concept as well, because only Jesus can bring that into our hearts, right? Knowing Him and having that relationship changes how we react to things. It changes how we perceive things. It lets off a load of burden for areas that we don't really need to be worrying about, right? Because again, He's in control. So I realize that no matter what we go through in life, it isn't without His knowledge. I know that whatever challenges we face, it's never too great for Him to handle, because we serve a God that is far greater than we could even imagine.
It's interesting to me how God can work in such remarkable ways, in such tremendous ways, like in her life, but He also handles the big and small all alike, right? And to feel that Jesus and God is pursuing me all these years that I didn't grow up in the church, but still wants me to be part of that, to be his son and daughter. It's just remarkable to me to see how God pursues us all. And I think, just being in this place with Risen King, it's been great to kind of help keep moving on that spiritual journey, keep challenging to learn more about it, to challenge the depths of your faith, to challenge what God has in store for you and what your plan is. So, yeah, it's been great.